All right, what is going on? Happy Memorial Day. It's early in the morning, just revved up the Nate grill, had some thick cut bacon. Oh, perfection. And I was just thinking, I had some time, and I kind of wanted to do this for a while now, but I've been writing about the Helmrich Fortress Maidens for 4 years now, and I thought I would just read the stories, starting with the first one that was published in Small Town Anthology here. Uh, IX is 9, right? I think IX is 9. So Small Town Anthology 9. This was 2023, so it's an older one, but you can still get it on Amazon if you want. I'll read my story, but there's a whole bunch of stories from West Michigan authors. So if you're interested in sort of that, sort of the underground niche writing scene, there's tons of really good fiction, nonfiction poetry in here. My entry to this anthology did win, I think. Hold on here. It won something. It took first place for adult fiction. So that's pretty cool. The other Helmrich Fortress Maiden stories didn't really win that much. The latest one that came out this year did tie for third place, so I got a novel out of it, which is pretty cool. But I'll just go ahead and read it. This is called Picking Up the New Trumpeter, a Helmrich Fortress Maiden story. You can see they kind of had a weird typo here. Not a typo, but like a format error, because it says Picking Up the New Trumpeter by Ross Landers, a Helmrich Fortress Maiden story. So it should have been broken up a little bit differently, but that is okay. Hey, that's okay. That's part of the good thing about these small time publications. There's errors, and errors are good. Errors are human, and that's what we want to see. It's kind of like when you go to a live theater and you're kind of hoping there might be a mistake in how the actors and stuff, how the audience is going to react to that kind of stuff. It's part of the fun. It's part of the fun in it. All right, here we go. Corporal Battaglia stood at the small, empty Pardona train station. Shoulder-length, light brown hair framed a creamy-skinned face with bloodshot eyes, like green jewels. The bags under her eyes sagged from a late night of drinking and gambling. She was dressed in a maid apron and headpiece fused with military attire. A pair of golden chevrons stacked too high adorned her collar. Long black sleeves tucked into metal gauntlets. Brown leather gloves protected both her hands. A star-shaped medal shimmered over her left breast. The imperial banner of a maroon cross over a white field and a golden dragon in the upper right quadrant decorated both her shoulders. A leather utility belt clasped around her waist. The left side of the belt holstered a long sword, and the right carried a combat dagger. A rifle with a black metal barrel and a wooden stock was slung over her right shoulder. An old man ticket master hummed a tune while he tidied up his ticket booth. A radio near him broadcasted a news channel. Civil unrest continues to grow in the city of Pardona and across the empire as unemployment and inflation skyrocket, said the muffled voice of the news anchor. Many war veterans are frustrated in the lack of jobs that they qualify for. Many have turned to crime. As a result, some have lost their lives to the imperial police force. The People's Group for Justice and Equality is holding large anti-police, anti-nobility demonstration today downtown on Main Street. There is expected to be an equally large counter-demonstration by brothers and sisters of the empire. Bystanders are recommended to stay clear of these demonstrations since these groups have a history of violence and vandalism. Battaglia sighed. She took a partial pack of Lancer cigarettes from her apron pouch. She drew a cigarette from the pack and placed the filter end between her lips. The Lancer logo gave her pause. It was an armored foot soldier from the medieval era, armed with a spear and braced for a cavalry charge. Every time she saw that logo, it reminded her of the scent of gunpowder and mud. It also reminded her of him. There he was, tall and handsome, in the trench, smiling with his rifle slung over his shoulder. He leaned against the mud wall with a lit Lancer cigarette in his mouth. "Hey, beautiful," he had said. "Want to join me for a smoke?" Batagalia stopped shoveling mud. She threw her spade into the ground and adjusted her helmet, which had fallen over her eyes. "Smoking is gross, Greg." "You're new to the front," Greg replied. "Give it another week or two. You'll be my good smoking buddy in no time." She put the pack back and pulled out a wild boar brewery mat. Hold up. She put the pack back and pulled out wild boar brewery matches, struck a match, and lit her cigarette. She took a nice long drag. "Excuse me, sir," Batagalia called over to the ticket master. "Have you seen an army private disembark any trains today?" "Oh my, a Helmrich fortress maiden," said the ticket master, taken by surprise. His eyes focused on her medal. "Oh, it's a great honor." The ticket master left his booth, walked over to Batagalia and shook her hand. "Thank you so much for your service and heroics. I served myself in the artillery division, but during the Empire-Westoria War, many moons ago." "Don't mention it. Thank you for your service. That was a hard-fought war as well." "I did see a young private. She wore her service alphas and her sea bag in tow, and a bugle strapped to her side. Is she our new trumpeter?" Batagalia nodded. "I look forward to hearing her play. Perhaps she'll put the whole city at ease. We could use that these days." She left down towards Main Street. Batagalia crooked her head towards the brick walkway that led to Main Street. "Couldn't you just stand still for a second, newbie?" "I apologize. I should have stalled her. She seemed very energetic and excited to be here in Pardona." "Yeah, that's all right. Thank you for the information." Batagalia shook the man's hand and strolled down towards Main Street. A smirk formed around her cigarette. "This'll be interesting." Main Street and the sidewalks were jam-packed with people. Many held anti-nobility signs and chanted angry slogans. Batagalia received many scowls as she walked by. She smiled, stuck out her chest, and kept her shoulders high, all the while scanning the crowd for her wayward trumpeter. Police mounted on horseback patrolled the intersections and ensured that automobile traffic didn't veer into pedestrian traffic. Most of the shops and restaurants on Main Street were closed. Some were boarded up. Street vendors braved the unstable condition and set up shop to take advantage of the crowd. There were beef skewers, barbecue chicken, and donuts. Some vendors served beer. Batagalia's stomach growled. She glanced at her watch. "Well, I'm late as it is. Might as well grab a bite." At Main and 9th, a large group of protesters formed. A man stood above the rest on some wooden boxes used as a makeshift stage. He wore a charcoal newsboy cap and a matching vest over a white collared shirt. The sleeves were rolled to his elbows. A giant statue of a beautiful long-haired woman in attire similar to Batagalia's towered over the man behind him. The statue had the right arm lifted with a long sword pointed to the heavens. "You fought for them, killed for them, watched comrades die for them, and how do they repay you? With unsafe, unregulated, hard labor jobs that barely put food on the table for your families. You're suffering in the mines, factories, and fields while they sit in their palaces getting fat off of your work. You're no better than slaves," the man yelled. The crowd grew restless as Batagalia approached the intersection. "And the police? They gun us down in the streets, beat us to death. Don't be fooled by the ones here today." He gestured to the police who blocked the roads. Given the order, they'd happily pull the trigger. Servants to the oppressors. We, the people of justice and equality, aren't servants anymore. Our eyes are open. Crowd members nodded and cheered. The man noticed Battaglia as she walked by. Speaking of servants, never has there been more of a symbol of the corrupt nobility than Pardona's own Helmrich fortress maidens. All eyes of the crowd turned towards Battaglia. She stopped, locked eyes with the man on stage. Her grip around her sling tightened. And look here, it's the one who got her medal for murdering. Bullseye Battaglia, a war-crazed psychopath. What are you going to do, sweetheart? You going to shoot me? What kind of sick tradition allows soldiers to just walk around freely with weapons? He turned and presented the statue behind him. Look at this, Lady Lunova, the one who rallied the maids to defend Helmrich Fortress when it was surrounded by people like you who were rightly angry about the wealth the nobility had stolen. Lunova rallied the maids, peasants themselves, and came to their master's side and smote their own to keep their slavers alive. Should have let the nobility die, I say. He spat at the base of the statue. The nearby police stirred uneasily in their saddles. Battaglia smiled and continued her way through the crowd as she felt hundreds of angry eyes pierce right through her. Her right hand shifted from her sling to rest on the hilt of her dagger. Further down 9th Street, there was a bakery that was open. Battaglia purchased a chocolate toffee scone and a small coffee. She sat at the small outdoor patio near the bakery. She dipped the scone in the coffee and bit in. The warm, chocolatey pastry satisfied her taste buds and stomach. She dipped it again and finished it up in several bites. She pulled an ashtray on the table closer to her, lit up another cigarette, and sat back in her chair. The police traffic towards Main Street on horse and on foot began to pick up. They were equipped with special armor, shields, and long batons. Battaglia noticed a few police automobiles going in that direction. She downed her coffee, stood with cigarette between lips, followed the law enforcement back towards Main Street. Back at Main and 9th Street, a line of riot police had formed near Lady Lunova's statue to hold back the people of justice and equality. On the other side of the intersection, another line of police formed to hold back another group. This group carried a multitude of patriotic imperial banners and were led by an individual adorned in the traditional medieval armor of a Pardona knight. There's the scum who refuses to stand for our colors. There are the lowlives who refuse to work for our great empire. They spit on the bodies of our war dead, the knight yelled. Both groups threw the items at each other and spouted slurs. Battaglia found the police sergeant standing outside his automobile. He was on a radio. I need more men. Yes, they better damn well have rifles, the sergeant shouted into the radio. There are more of them than we anticipated. Need some assistance, Sergeant? Battaglia interrupted. Bullseye. The sergeant performed a crisp salute. Battaglia returned his salute. I appreciate the offer, the sergeant said, but isn't the Army's official stance to not get involved with local turmoil? I can't just sit by and let my boys get overran or let my city get destroyed. Protesters from both sides began to harass the police. The police pushed them back with shields, but that agitated the mob even more. Those bigots are stuck in an oppressive past. It was the man from earlier. They idolize war and the nobility's dogs who die and kill without question. The police lines began to falter. Battaglia unslung her rifle and loaded the magazine. One police officer stumbled. As he tried to get back on his feet, a protester stood over him with a concrete block above his head. Battaglia took aim on that demonstrator and moved her finger to the trigger. A bugle played over the chaos. The yelling and jeering calmed down. Off to the side, between the two groups, at the base of Lady Lunova's statue, was a young woman in the gray and maroon Service Alpha Army uniform. She had dark brown hair and moss green eyes. She played God Protect the Empire, the national anthem. Everyone turned to look at her. As the music rang in Battaglia's ears, she remembered the last time she heard it. It was during a military funeral. Battaglia herself wore the Service Alphas as she stood above a casket draped in the Empire's maroon cross and dragon. She placed a single rose and a pack of Lancer cigarettes on the coffin. Rain hid her tears. The star metal weighed heavy on her chest. Batagalia lowered her rifle. The young private played out the rest of the song, and when she was done, there was silence. The leader of the People's Group of Justice and Equality locked eyes with the knight leader of the Brothers and Sisters of the Empire. Both stood there for a long moment. Then, at the same time, they turned away from each other and left in opposite directions. Their groups followed and dispersed. The police began to leave the scene as well. Batagalia shouldered her rifle and approached the private. When the private saw her, she snapped to the position of attention. "Star Cross of Honor," she said. She saluted. Batagalia saluted back. "Private Aubrey Dunshield reporting," said the private. "I'm Corporal Megan Batagalia, the Helmrich Fortress Maiden's sharpshooter." Aubrey awed in amazement. "Aubrey, what were you doing walking around town?" "Well, when I got off at the station, there was no one to meet me. I felt I had to take matters into my own hands." "Next time, just wait a little longer." "Yes, Corporal, but I had so much fun. Met so many interesting locals. One of them even bought me a meat skewer. Pardona beef is just as delicious as they say. It's against regs to get involved with political groups. Plus, things could have turned out dangerous. I didn't know that. I'll do better next time, Corporal." She saluted. "You don't need to keep saluting me." Megan lowered Aubrey's arm. "You played beautifully, worthy of the Helmrich Fortress Maiden title. I can see why you were chosen. Let's get you to base and into your new uniform." "Yes, Corporal." The two soldiers walked down Main Street as stores began to reopen. That's it. So that's the first one. Again, that was 2023 Small Town Anthology, number 9. Won me first place for the Vicksburg Tournament of Writers, so that's pretty cool. I'll read the second one later. Maybe another day I'll read number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4. It's 4 years of the Helmrich Fortress Maiden, so might as well celebrate them and read them, right? So anyways, till next time, take care.